This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
But don't drink the faucet. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, my name is Peter. Yeah, I want. Here's good.
Yeah.
Madam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorced dad, single dad, divorced dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
Oh yeah, and showtime it is. Just made it. It's really great to be here too. How the hell is everybody? It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show. Every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, God willing. And that's a fact. All righty, we got the look. See, I like when people just start showing up. They're waiting for the show. Good evening, Peter G. Good evening, Steve. Love you, buddy. Thank you. There you go. It's that simple. It's that simple. I mean, that takes dedication. I mean, and I'm proud of that. That's why I always say how much I love my audience. The ones that are there, they show up. They put in the work. Thank you. And I know life is busy. Life is really busy. And everybody's hustling. And the ones that go out of their way, and again, those of you who catch the show after the show, I get it. Not everybody can make it when it's time for the show. But as long as you watch, I don't care if it's tomorrow, 3 hours from now, a year from now. But for those of you who are paying attention, hi, I'm Peter G, and thank you. All right. Tonight we got a great show. If I told you I've been looking forward to this, it's because I always look forward to this because he's been on the show before. And in fact, I think he's probably been on the show more than, or at least as much as anybody, if not more. Either way, tonight I have from Baltimore, Maryland, Pastor Ray Poellot. For those of you who are familiar with Pastor Ray, I bring him on as we get close into the holidays and we talk about, well, first of all, Pastor Ray is, he takes care of the homeless in Baltimore. And Baltimore's, you know, it's a challenge. And it's cold. And I remember we started out because it was the winter up there and how they live in the snow in tents and things like that. And like what we got here. Hello, Peter G. Brian. Welcome. Thanks, brother. I like that. So Pastor Ray, you know, we met years ago through Bob Paff, and I always admired him for the selfless things that he does. And I mean, it's tough. The homeless. I mean, they're all over the place, everywhere, in every city, every state. There's people out there begging for money on every corner, and he goes out there and he battles the weather and clothes them and brings them blankets and tents, I mean, and things like that. And these are all walks of life: the mentally challenged, the sick, the addicted, the lost, all of the above. And I always admire him because it's more than I could ever do. I mean, I don't know. To me, you have to be gifted. I always said the same thing about taking care of the elderly, because as I saw my parents out, or my mother especially, through healthcare and things like that, you have to be a special kind of person to deal with certain situations, and Pastor Ray is one of them. So he's going to be on the show tonight. We're going to talk about what's going on in Baltimore, how he's dealing with the homeless, but life in general too, because he's an ex-Marine, he is a foster child. I mean, just all kinds of stuff, and I always like to retouch base on all these things to bring the newbies up to speed. But truly an amazing human being, and I mean that. So he's going to be on the show in a few minutes, and stick around and don't miss it. Share. I ask you, please hit the like button, the follow on Facebook, you follow on YouTube. That punishes me like there's no tomorrow. Hit the subscribe button. It's free. It's easy. There's nothing to it, but just show your appreciation. I would appreciate that because I am guilty of it myself. I watch a lot of things and don't follow everything, but that's because I'm all over the map looking at things. But if you truly think that you're going to revisit me and spend time with what we do me a favor and just hit that follow, the share, the like, all the above. It's pretty effortless. I would appreciate it. And don't forget, I do appreciate those who watch. But a lot of people in California, people are still commuting right now from work. It's only a little bit after 6 o'clock. Put an earbud in your ear. You can catch any show on demand except for the live. The live doesn't go to audio podcast until tomorrow. But still, there's over 400 shows. You know, if you didn't catch the show right here and now, you can pick it up anytime you want afterwards. Again, everything is on demand with over 400 shows. Every topic I can pretty much come up with. And please, you're invited to tell me something that you would like me to talk about. That's always important to me because I realize one subject doesn't always tend to everybody. You can't please everybody. And I'm not trying to, but I just try to bring things that I feel are somewhat important and to being a decent human being and learning some things. And whether you agree or disagree, I always told you it doesn't matter to me. So long as you listen and take it to heart, bygones be bygones. It's not a big deal. I'm not going to be mad at you unless you're a total a-hole. And if that's what I've also learned, that some people are just a-holes and they're going to die a-holes. There's nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. Oh, look, wait a minute. Now, okay, where am I? Hello. There we go. Hey, come back here. Pensacola in the house. Welcome, Pensacola. Love you, buddy. There you go. Okay, so we are complete. But anyway, please, again, subscribe and all that stuff. I have to say that stuff, as boring as it is, and for those who hear me every week and all that, because it's true. I mean, Facebook is kicking butt. We're going to be at 100,000, like, followed or liked, subscribed, so to speak. But I know that there's like 5 times that much, and all over. We're pushing over 250,000 followers. But it doesn't look like that on paper. Oh my God. So look. Somebody, this is great, man. 2 weeks in a row. I'm going to call you. I need to call you. Remind me to call you. What's good? Remind me to call you. And I don't want to die. What? That's in Italian. That means love. I love you, buddy. Oh boy. Things I got to do for a living. Anyway, but you didn't hear that from me. What else we got going on? Not a whole lot. Because I got Pastor Ray on, I'm not going to get into all this, the life stuff. We'll talk enough about those things. But, I just realized that the show is going to fall on Thanksgiving Eve, Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve. And I don't know why, but I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention to it. Like this stuff. It's been real busy. A lot of stuff going on. And I'm thinking about it. I'm going, all right, Thanksgiving Eve, I'm cool. I think people will be around Thanksgiving Eve. But, and Christmas Eve, a lot of family stuff going on and things like that. But the sacrifices you make for your job, a lot of people have to work on Christmas Eve. And I'm thinking, so do I. And then there's New Year's Eve. It's like, I can give a flip about New Year's Eve. I am not one of those guys. When I was playing music, if I got paid to be out there, and it wasn't about the money, but I had a purpose for being out there. I'm just not a Yahoo. I love every day, but there's too many crazies. New Year's Eve, the weekends, these, the crazy holiday weekends when people that aren't really good at partying go out and party and get out of hand, and then they're dangerous. And Lord knows, how many tragic things occur. So I don't care if I don't go out on New Year's Eve. In fact, I haven't in quite a while, unless I'm going to a hotel or someplace where we're staying, we're in-house, we're doing this, and that's that. But running around partying, I'll be right here doing this show. New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, and Thanksgiving, because it's my job. Switch off. And we'll be taking a break for January, but that's it. I just wanted to get that. I don't know if anybody realized that, but I mean, for those of you who have things to do, I get it. Family is good. Family is something I think we need more of nowadays. Everybody is so busy in their own directions. The old people have passed on back in the day when they'd make you get together. We're going to so-and-so's house. And everybody got together. And now it's just the families are so spread out and everybody is so busy where there's so little of that. And it's kind of sad. But I kind of get it at the same time. I have mixed emotions on that because I too am guilty of not being able to gather sometimes because times have changed. But it really sucks because those were great family. It's all I can tell you. What little family you may or may not have or huge family, it's still family. And you should get together with them, regardless of, I mean, I have family I never hardly talk to. I mean, we don't have a problem with it. We love each other, but it's just the way it is. And if we do talk, nobody says, well, you haven't called me. And, it's just understood. But it does kind of suck. But at the same time, I go back to life is not like it used to be. It's way more complicated. And I don't know if it's ever going to, be able to revert back or stay normal. It's only getting worse. So love your family. Spend time with your family through the holidays. We're going to talk about a lot of this stuff through the holidays. And I'll be on the eves of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's doing what we do. We'll keep it simple, stupid, and talk about the good and the hardships of, being alone, family, celebrating with family, all the above. Getting through the holidays. How's that? That's kind of my go-to. Getting through the holidays. It's good and it's bad for some people. It just depends. But if you're alive and you're listening, there's a reason for it. So you're supposed to be here. All right? Cool. Anything else? Oh, how can I forget this? One last thing before we switch over. A little bit cold for you down in the south there, people? A little bit cold. We got a little cold snap going on. Winter is approaching. I mean, I was watching the news. They're going, how they make everything and they amplify it times 20. They got to make everything tragic. Cold winter's coming, snaps and blah, blah, blah. It's winter. Whether it comes this week, next week, the week before, week early, we're going into winter. For those of you who shovel snow, break out that shovel. It's coming. Whether it's already here, you got a dusting, whether it's going to be 6 inches or 6 feet, it's going to suck. It's winter. It is what it is. I mean, just embrace it. Embrace the change. We're already now, it's 5 o'clock. It's dark. People are bitching, I hate driving home at dark. It's only 5:30 and it feels like it's midnight. I get it. But before you'll know it, I'll be talking to you in March about this and we'll be singing Rejoice. Hallelujah. It's daylight savings time. The sun is up. I love making fun of daylight savings time. I do. Anyway, I'm glad you're here joining us. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break because we want to hear from my good friends over at Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive DX1 driver. And then we're going to bring on Pastor Ray Poellot from Baltimore and talk to him about life and how he's managing this year with the homeless and the ups and downs and the good, the bad. But ever so grateful to be here. And because I know he's too blessed to be depressed. And that much I know. So let's see if he's got a new slogan.
Let us help you with the high price of fuel. Hello, I'm Ty Thompson at CleanStarProducts.com. We can optimize your engine, saving you money in gas. Here's how. Our program works the same with gasoline and diesel engines. Whether you're using a car pack or SUV pack, the instructions are the same. Add 1 bottle to your engine oil, and each time you change your oil, add 1 bottle to the fuel tank each and every fuel fill-up. It's that easy. You get 10% fuel economy on average, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. DX1 sells for $2 an ounce, so for just a few dollars a fuel tank, you can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Come on, give it a try. It's the finest green grade oil in the world from a California environmental company. You're going to feel it when you drive. Order online today. We'll get it out right away. CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right. Clean Star Products with their money-saving fuel additive. I got 2 words for you. It works. It's a little bitty bottle right here. Little bottle. I'm telling you, something's really, really weird. What the hell is going on here? Okay, sorry. Just take this little bottle. This services a 4-door sedan on average, all right? You pour one of these little bottles into a clean oil change, and then every time you fill up your tank, for the first 3 or 4 tanks, put this little bottle in there, fill up your tank full of fuel, and just drive. It's simple. Anybody can do this. You'll notice the difference. I did. I noticed the difference within about 3 tanks, and I can just feel it. I drive a V8. The V8, the bottle's a little bit bigger because it's a bigger engine. But talk about, a gas hog, and I noticed the difference. And I did get better gas mileage, or I do get better gas mileage, and I noticed the difference in the acceleration. I didn't have to step on the pedal as hard as I normally did to get it to take off. But don't believe me. I mean, call them. Just ask them. They're more than willing to answer all your questions because they have a product that works and they know it works. Give them a call. Go to their website, www.cleanstarproducts, and all the information is there. But there's a phone number there, and I put the phone number up on the screen as well. 310-200-8931. Talk to them. Chances are you might even talk to Ty Thompson himself. He loves talking to people, because he's proud of what he's got. And but here's the kicker. Mention that you saw it on the Peter G Show, because after they answer your questions, and if you decide to order, and you mention you saw it on the Peter G Show, they will send you 5 bottles for the price of 4, just for saying you saw it on the Peter G Show. 5 bottles for the price of 4, and that's a great starter kit, because you take one of the bottles, pour it into your clean oil change, and then you have 4 full tanks of fuel to add it to. And I'm telling you, you'll notice the difference. And then after you do that, you could add it every tank full. You could add it every other tank full, once every 4 tankfuls. Good food, good body. So it's your choice on how clean you want to eat, metaphorically speaking, for your car. But it does. That's the basic, best way I can put it for you. It's just good food for your car. And it makes a huge difference. And it's environmentally green, and he's all into that tree hugging stuff and all that kind of stuff too. So, it passes California emissions, and believe me, if you can pass California emissions, you can pass anything, because gas is still really expensive over there. But that's it. Give them a call. Tell them you saw it on the Peter G Show, and they will give you 5 bottles for the price of 4. A deal's a deal. And the holidays are coming up. Give it to somebody you love who's got, an older, especially for higher mileage vehicles. It does wonders for it. It really does. That's it. Okay. Can't say more than that. It speaks for itself. Try it. You'll like it. All right. So where are we? Just checking some things here, folks. Glad everybody's tuning in. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Without further ado, having media. Okay. Oh, that's what I need to do real quick. As always, take a little sip, because this show makes me thirsty. Oh. Smooth. Ain't that right, Butthead?
Smooth.
I love them. I remember people used to say, how can you watch them? They're so stupid. And I go, yeah. South Park is just killing me. I don't know, if anybody follows South Park, but I get a lot of short clips, and I watch when I can, but yeah, they're raunchy, but yeah, they are over the top genius at the point how they can take, real life scenarios and just stick it to you. It's like, holy crap. I got to keep the humor, because I'm telling you, if we don't laugh, laughing is way better than crying. But I just find them amazing, And again, it shows, because what did I talk about a couple of years ago? Was it about 3 years ago when they got a $980 million deal, to renew? Was it It was no less than that. It was like this astronomical. It was almost $1 billion. South Park, a cartoon. That's how relevant they are. So I always I don't worship money or anything like that, but I do use it as a form of measurement sometimes. Not all the time. Everything has exceptions to the rules, but you know, sometimes you can use money as to how well or not well something's doing. I mean, think about it. Popular stuff costs money. Stuff that's not as good is probably a little bit lesser. But then at the same time, you could have something that's amazing, you know, it's an amazing product that's just not found yet, and it's reasonably affordable, you know, supply and demand, all the above. Anyway, just another fun fact. You're welcome. Don't mention it. All right, without further ado, waiting in the wings, my friend and yours, or maybe new to you, but not new to this show. He's been on several times, and we'll talk about that. But from Baltimore, Maryland, the overseer of the homeless, the shepherd of the lost, the I can't put it into words on how special you have to be to do what he does, but he does. He's there and he's doing it, and we're going to talk about it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Pastor Ray Poellot, right here.
Hey, Peter.
Yay. I want to thank you once again for always making it so easy for me when I call you and being so accommodating as to, hey, will you come on my show? Sure, no problem. When do you want me? And boom, you're here. So thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
No, it goes both ways. Again, I look forward to our conversations. I know we keep up with each other through the year, like with a like and a this, or you know, maybe a comment here and there. But I do enjoy our talks. I truly do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be asking you back. And you know, at this point, you know, nobody still tells me what I can and cannot do or what direction I can go and things like that. And so the one time a year, because it was that time of year that my then young daughter said to me, you should get them on before the holidays, before it gets cold, so we can talk. Because at the time you were like, you know, trying to get money to buy blankets and things like that. And I guess things are going well. How are things going?
It's a whole different world than last year. It's, you know, the majority of the homeless that we deal with are addicts, but the mental health crisis has grown exponentially.
Wow.
A lot of it is drug-induced mental health issues, but there's some people that got a JAB or something, had strokes in addition to their addiction, and now they're just not the same people.
Really?
Yeah, it's and the way that the homeless respond to people helping them has changed a lot. There's a lot more entitlement now than there has been in the past.
Wow. Let me do this because I'm getting ahead of myself already, because I have other questions too. Again, chain reaction of how the year and the events go. But why don't you give a real quick synopsis there's a lot of new people. I mean, this year, especially on Facebook, we're kicking butt right now with people signing on and making themselves known that, hey, we follow the Peter G Show. But why don't you reintroduce yourself is this the 5th or 6th time you've been on the show? Do you know?
I think it was like 2018, I think. No, 2019.
2019?
Didn't I talk to you after I went and did the a homeless outreach in Vegas in the tunnels?
It was after that, because you did talk
so
about it.
It was 20. So this is the 5th year then.
Is it 5th? Okay. I meant to go look it up, and my brain, you know, look a squirrel, and I forgot.
What's a year between friends?
Exactly. But the fact is, you have been here, but just like everything is changing, so is this show. I mean, for the better, more and more people that are paying attention. But just give everybody a brief synopsis of who you are, what you're doing, what you've been doing, where you came from. We'll get into that. I have to touch a little bit on your past, as always, but let them know from your perspective over there.
Primarily, I've been working with the homeless for 25 years. In April is 25 years. I have a team of people around me that help. We go out and go to where people live in tents or where we know that homeless hang out, like a lot of them in camp around buildings and stuff. It's not to the extent that you have like Skid Row in California. We get isolated pockets where there's maybe 6 or 8 people, or in some cases 2 or 3 people. And our first goal is to introduce them to Jesus. Second goal is to try to get them off of the street, get them into an addictions program. The one constant throughout all the years is that an addict is only going to go into treatment when they're sick and tired of being sick and tired and they have a made up mind. So we can't, we don't fix anybody. We don't save anybody. We throw seeds out there. And the way that we do it is you have to earn their trust. So we provide them with blankets, tents, heaters, shirts, socks, lots of socks. We always give them brand new socks. And that's just an ongoing thing. We do it all year long. In the winter, obviously, we're doing a lot more blankets. And we've kind of narrowed the group. Last time when I talked to you, we had a major circle of maybe 55 to 60 people. We probably have 30 now. And then out of that 30, 10 that we really concentrate on. And then there's always new people. Like tonight, I had a call from a lady that I've known for 13 years. And she was asking for another homeless guy if I could get a tent for him. You were talking about winter earlier. Yesterday it was 43 degrees here, but with wind chill it was 29. And for that, we were like 70 degrees before that. So that's a sudden shock. And the homeless that have never been homeless when it's cold before are just freaking out.
Yeah, I got so many questions, and I don't want to jump the gun with you. Why don't you do me? How many years you been doing this now?
25.
25 years.
Yep.
But again, I always like telling people, how you kind of drifted toward what you're doing. I mean, what made you, of all things? I just mentioned. I think I mentioned that you were a former Marine. I think I mentioned that earlier in the show.
Right.
And I know it was the Marine's birthday the other day, and I didn't get to wish you a happy Marine's birthday. And then yesterday was Veterans Day, and again, so you got all your holidays except your own personal birthday right there. But so you take that very seriously, though.
I do.
You do. And again, you were a foster child yourself. You've told in past shows.
Right. Yep. So when I was in foster care, I was working at a Pizza Hut, and I was closing the store. When I came out, there was I come from the long-haired hippie generation, and there was a hippie sitting outside, and it just turns out that he was deaf. And I scared him, and then he started writing notes to me, and we communicated, and he was lost. So I went back into the store. I called my foster dad and said, "Hey, can I bring a guy home tonight?" And we brought him home. It was very challenging to, I didn't know sign language or anything. He taught me, how to spell eventually. But within 2 days, we got him reconnected with his family. And that was a lot last I ever saw of him. But as a foster kid, I think I just became a proponent of the underdog. And then because of my spiritual journey, you were talking earlier about loving your family and family. For me, the church is the family. It's like our church is the church without walls. We're not a registered 503c. We're just a group of people that started a church. We literally have it outside. The pictures are on my Facebook page. If it's raining or snowing, we take everybody to IHOP. We always have a meal afterwards, and it was started for the homeless. There could be 5 or 8 homeless, but there's usually about 30 people that come, and everybody just loves on them. For me, what I get in all of my studies in the Bible is that you love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself. Well, your neighbor, a lot of times people like to nitpick who that is. Your neighbor is anybody and everybody. So we just try to love with no strings attached. And, sometimes we do put strings on it because we're human, and I get frustrated and ticked off just as much as anybody. I have to bite my tongue and extend grace to people because they're going through things, and everybody's going through things. And like all you have to do is look at our society right now and the amount of hatred. There has to be somebody out there to counter that with love, and that's what we're trying to do. Is just love people, let them feel normal. Like you were talking about the holidays. We used to, for the last several years, we've gone to their camps at night on Thanksgiving and Christmas and taking them hot meals. This year, we're taking them all to the restaurant. And, we'll take them to restaurants that are open those days and have a nice Thanksgiving meal, and try and create a family environment for them.
It's got to be challenging when you have people who are like in their own world doing their drugs and things like that. I mean, what about the resistance that you say, you always had quite a collection of people, from the mentally unstable to the drug addicts and things like that. But you're saying it's getting a lot more challenging now. Why is it? Are they getting more dangerous, or I mean, what is going on?
Well, the drugs are different. I mean, even now they have the purple fentanyl. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's twice as lethal. It's twice as lethal as fentanyl, and Narcan doesn't work on it, so you can't revive somebody. But more importantly is the attitudes behind the people. It's like, what are you going to do for me? And like, there's this one fellow that we brought him to church a few times, and he was really responding well. And when we're learning his story, he won't go into treatment. This is his story. Well, my brother's out here and he's really struggling. And his brother really was struggling far worse than him. And his dad is ill and in the shelter. So this is like a generational thing. And I have seen parents and children die out here, all from the same things. At any rate, so he uses his dad and his brother as an excuse. And then when I don't buy it, he just, no, I'm good. So like maybe the last 3 times that we've stopped where he's at, he's in the middle of shooting up and said, what do you want? Rather than having a conversation, because he just wants to take care of business. So that hurts, because you invest in people, you love them, and you want the best for them. So at that point, all we can do is back away, pray, and believe that God will do a work. I mean, I don't think anything happens by accident. So if somebody comes into my path, or I come into their path, however that works, I think that God has a plan for them. And, I just keep praying, like, give me wisdom, give me patience, give me grace, to speak to these folks with grace, and to not let my personal feelings get involved, because your feelings do get involved. You get hurt a lot.
Wow. As you were talking to me, when I asked you to just tell a little bit about yourself, the story of you taking home a deaf person out of all these years of you telling about yourself, I've never heard that part. See, I get something out of you every year.
Maybe you weren't listening.
No. We can go back. Tape don't lie. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't believe that was ever told.
I don't know, but that's it's we can all try and psychoanalyze ourselves. I mean, that could have been a driving force, but in the end, I really believe it's just God driving me there. I look at people everybody has a story. That one fellow that I was just talking about, he actually said, I mentioned, or we prayed for him at church, and he was very offended afterwards. He says, now everybody knows I'm a homeless addict. And so I went back and talked to him, and I was very apologetic. And I said, I just want to ask you a couple questions, and please don't be offended. Are you homeless? And he said, yes. I said, are you an addict? Yes. Then why be offended? We're trying to build you up. That prayer was to build you up and to encourage other people to pray for you, and to stand in the gap, if you will, and ask God to intervene in your life. And it softened him a little bit, but his addiction went so south so quickly.
Addiction is, again, whether it's alcohol, drugs, Addiction's a bitch, and I get that. But I mean, talking to you, I mean, who deals with it on a daily basis, and you take these people in. And a little while ago, you also mentioned about him that his brother was an addict too. You said was. Is he past tense or? Is
No. He still is. I mean, he's they're probably both on equal footing now in terms of the level of addiction that they've gone to. I mean, they're when I use the phrase in the world, I'm talking about somebody that is conforming to whatever the world offers them. We got a hole in our heart and they're trying to plug it. You know, like when I was a kid, they said your sin nature, you try to plug it with sex and drugs and rock and roll. Well, people will use drugs, they'll use anger, they'll use pornography, whatever, to find satisfaction. And now with the world being twice as crazy, they're going to extremes to fill that hole. We're trying to introduce them to Jesus so that they can be filled with love, joy, peace, you know, what we call the fruit of the Spirit, things that turn a life around. And like when I talked to you the last time, we were averaging about 15 to 20 people a year getting them into a program. I think we might have had 5 this year. It's just, and now there's some that just go off and go into a program that we don't know about, but that we're knowledgeable about, maybe 5. It's really getting tougher and tougher to get them into a program. And then if we get them coming to church, it's very fluid. They'll be there for a few months and then disappear. And we don't know, oh, did they die? Did they go into treatment? Like we had one couple that other homeless people said they've gone into treatment. Well, we kind of, as a rule, say that when homeless people are running their mouth, they're lying. It's, you know, it's not a personal indictment against them. It's just the way that it is. That there is survival of the fittest out there.
Right.
But they said they went into treatment, and about 6 months later, the girl called me and asked if I could give a ride. I said, I thought you were in treatment. They were in treatment. They slipped up. They had a bottle in their room. They took one drink. They got busted and put out. But to their credit, they had me give them a ride to their grandfather's. And then next day, they're going back into another program. So at least they were working on it. They were sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Okay. And I see you brought into my last year's Peter G-ism about so long as there's you know, I to my defense, I did say so long as there's sex and drugs, I could do without the rock and roll, you know. So I did give up one vice. You know?
I remember that. Yep.
I could have had all 3, but I broke it down to 2, and you know, and the famous Mick Jagger here, I can't get no satisfaction. But drug, you know, addiction is a bitch for
well,
those.
even if you took, Peter, if you took away the word addiction and just plug it in with, and what you just said, Mick Jagger, I can't get no satisfaction. 95% of the world can't get no satisfaction, and they're trying desperately to fill it. Even the insanity that you're seeing in the world with all the hatred and the political divide and everything, it's people looking for something. I try to go out and tell them, hey, you want purpose? I can introduce you to somebody that's all about purpose, that has a plan for your life. And that, you know, like if I'm talking to a server in a restaurant, I have more success with servers in restaurants than I do anywhere else, because you know, like we have men's group on Monday night, we go to the same restaurant, so I get to see different servers all the time. But when it comes to the homeless and the addicted, they think that they're in a special category. Well, sin is sin. If this is the temple of God and I'm defiling it intentionally, that's sin. But I can't go out there and, well, I could, but repent, you sinner. You know, it's like, that's not my style. I'm not judgmental. I try to love people to Jesus, because I know that Christ died for me, that he loves me. And that's the most important thing in my life. And I just want to share that, because as a result of that transformation in my life, I have a level of love, joy, peace, meekness, temperance, long-suffering, self-control. Those are what they call the fruit of the Spirit. There's 9 of them. That flows through me, and I just have this peace that like you're going in the middle of a storm, and you can still find peace. When you're dealing with people that are dying, you can still have peace. And that's just something that I guess maybe I'm addicted to that I want everybody else to be able to take part in that.
Yeah, I think the ability to, like, you mentioned political divides and the hatred and all this kind of stuff. I'm kind of fortunate, at least I think I am, that I can talk about these things and not let it and not let it get personal.
Right.
You know? And there's so many people that I just saw something the other day, yesterday or day before, that like it eats them up from inside. They dwell on it to where they're losing their families or friends and all that because why don't you understand me? Because whatever they believe in or want to believe in, they feel that it's their, it's necessary for them to make sure that you understand it too. And life is full of choices. I mean, good or bad. I mean, so long as nobody's getting hurt, because one thing for sure is all this political crap that's going on is that you and I are not really going to change much of it. I mean, yes, in numbers, I guess we can, but the hatred is not helping it. It's just not helping.
I mean, obviously I live on the East Coast, so what's going on in New York is like really out there, and people are afraid in the surrounding areas. But I tell people, you already live in a socialist state in Maryland. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, and there's a lot of states like that, but I'm not in politics. People will try to force their view on you. What we do with homeless is we introduce them to somebody that they can make a choice about, and it's their choice. When you see like, you could just throw out buzzwords. It could be ICE, liberals, conservatives, Trump, Charlie Kirk, anything like that, and it's gonna open up Pandora's box, and it's true, and that's what you're able to do is that you can talk to people. I mean, like on my Facebook page, I don't have, I have one person on there that gets political, and I just love her because she's as crass as can be, but she's honest. And other than that, I just don't entertain it. I don't have time. I have a job to do too.
I thought you were talking about me for a minute.
No.
Yeah, let me ask you something else. Every year, you have certain people that you get close with that accept you guys, that would come around the homeless and things like that. But every year, I know that you end up losing people. They OD or this and that. I mean, and I don't like being morbid, but I mean, it's very interesting to me. I mean, I remember, was it last year or the year before, the story of the one that was going into rehab the next day, and the night before he was going to get high one more time, and he OD'd. How's that going this year?
So this year I had my worst experience ever with finding somebody dead. That was
really,
this really gentle guy was coming around doing good, and he was a little slow, but he claimed that he was free from drugs and drank a little bit. But the camp that he was in was really, really bad. I mean, these guys were firing up like 10 times a day. So we encouraged him to go to a different camp, and we put him in a camp by himself. And the next day he wasn't at church. So I was driving, I was about 5 miles away, and I got a check in the spirit that says, go check on Henry. And Henry was dead. And he had been there for a while, and I had to turn him over. And he had been sleeping on a yoga pad, and his eyes were open in the lines from the yoga pad, and he looked like a demon. And it like freaked me out. And I called the police, and they don't even investigate. Oh, he's all these medicines. He's a drug addict, and just, toss him to the side like nobody cares. But he broke my heart, and to see him like that, because for 10 years I was a pastor in a nursing home, and oftentimes I get a phone call that said, hey, Miss Mom Ash is getting ready to pass. Would you come over? And I go over and hold her hand, and sometimes give them permission, say, it's okay to let go. Jesus is waiting for you. And one time there was a lady crawling around on her bed naked, and she was screaming with a very deep guttural groan. And I believe that I saw her wrestling with the devil. She didn't believe in God, and she was resisting, and so those were like the two greatest extremes that I've ever seen. But I mean, death is tragic anyhow, and like when I see somebody die, oftentimes I may do a memorial service if I know the family, but oftentimes they're just gone and it's on to the next person. But then I get the thought of I have to pray for the family that I'll never know. They may not even know what happened to their son or daughter, but when they do find out, they're going to be grieving. And I just pray that somebody's there to. The good side about death is it gives you an opportunity to talk to somebody about hope. And for me, that hope is in Christ.
Right. What was last year the one who OD'd right before he was going to go into rehab? Charlie? No.
Oh, I don't remember. That's happened so many times. There was
I know.
Josh.
But that was last year's, like I think, or the year before. That was the one of that year that kind of got to you. You know what I mean? Because he was receiving so well, and it's always that just one more time.
Yep, just one more high.
Yeah, just one more, and that was the end of everything in life. And then you're quickly forgotten, and you become, just a faint memory.
Well, then you become part of the global war against fentanyl. That's really all about money.
Yeah.
Everything's connected, you know.
Well, it's always follow the money about everything. The recent cleanup of Washington, D.C., I was hearing stories that where are all the homeless going that were around there? They're pushing them into Maryland and stuff like that. Did you see any kind of ripple effect from any of that?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay.
There could be. Cool. There's this county that's just outside of D.C., Prince George's, and they have a good amount of homeless, but to my knowledge, there was no great influx or anything. They would, I think what they did was they took a couple of abandoned apartments, fixed them up real quick, and just started temporarily housing them in there. How that's going to work out in the long run, I don't know, because there's a disconnect between the federal government and the government of D.C., just like there is in the, like my county, Baltimore County. They just made an agreement to be a non-sanctuary county now. So ICE is now allowed to come in, and they're going to cooperate. If the police know where illegals are, they're going to inform them. So there's a big uproar because this is a liberal state. But, it's the insanity is everywhere. And who knows? We don't want to really get into that topic.
No, we can, but I want to stick to more of your story, but because I think it's overwhelming. I mean, that you, again, day in, day out, pretty much, this is what you've been doing, and the change of what's going on, and just the come and go loss. You win some, you lose some, and that's got to pull on you pretty deeply. I mean, it's almost like, I've talked to people who are cops or this and that, and I have a friend of mine who just retired, and he just said, I've seen enough. You know what I mean? Well,
this lady that goes on every outreach with me, every single one, like she has somebody that's not too far from where she lives, and her heart goes out to that person. And like when she latches on, she's like a bulldog in a china shop. She's not going to let go. So like he's going to be taken care of for Christmas. He's already got a new winter coat, a sleeping bag, whatever he needs. But she has, because she was an addict years ago, she knows them very deeply, and she can read them. I mean, she has an uncanny ability to read people. And sometimes she'll get angry and ticked off, and I have to tell her I don't want to hear that because I don't want to get a hard heart. Meaning, how they say in nursing homes and hospitals where you're around death a lot, you can be desensitized to it.
Sure.
I don't want to be desensitized to the pain that the folks that we serve are going through. It's important. I don't have to take on their pain. And by the way, you keep saying all the great things I do. It's not me. Normal people don't do this, Peter. It's Christ in me. I totally believe that. He puts me where I need to be, because I would rather be home watching a football game than out tending to the homeless, you know?
I get it, but here, once again, going back into what I said earlier, it takes a special person that have the qualities or whatever, from however you want to put it. You have to have it in you to go and do it. I am not that guy. I mean, I'm trying to deliver in a different way. This is my way of trying to share awareness or whatever. I mean, because I have a lot of experience with the nursing
That's your
home.
calling, no question. And you're good at it.
Well, so are you. You see what I say? Everybody's got their purpose.
Right.
And because I swore that I would never put my parents in a nursing home. But when my mother lost her ability to walk, I had no choice. The house could not facilitate her. And I made sure I was on them like white on rice. I mean, and because I know that there's good people in nursing homes that have the well intent to that special internal being, but there's also people who don't belong there that are doing it for the job. And I was all over them, knowing that we cared. I care about my mother. And I'm trusting you with my mother. And to the point to where, I mean, that these people, a small handful, like the higher ups, went to both my parents' funerals, and my father was never even in that nursing home. But that's how attached we got, because I paid attention and we had a relationship. And
that's
they knew
amazing. Yeah.
It was amazing. I love these people to death. In fact, last year, one of the people got into a car wreck and passed away. And I cried. I mean, it's just like, wasn't expecting it. Was wishing her a happy Mother's Day because I have her phone number. And it blew me out of the water because we lost a good one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
One of them who cared, who knew how to. And she was on my show many years ago in 2016 when I was first starting out, or 17. She came on audio. It was a visual, the Peter G show. She's in there we just talked about the relationship, about being in nursing homes and the quality, and how you have to be a special person. It's not for everybody.
Right.
And this is important. And that's why I'm talking about you, because we drive by, God knows, I'm driving on these corners and there's somebody on every corner looking for money and holding a puppy and, homeless and this and that. But it's very hard for me to open up like you do. You always said, go out and talk to these people,
Right.
And I'm
that's
running.
what we do in the Church Without Walls. We go through the Bible line by line. And like last week we were doing, or the week before, in the Bible is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, which is about love. And we take these biblical concepts and show them practical application. How do you do this? Well, the one thing you should never do, and this is not just for Christians, this is for anybody, is go out and hand somebody $5 and think that you're doing them a service. All you're doing is making yourself feel good. But what you should do is, if it's possible, stop and talk to them. Now, obviously, if it's a lunatic or something, you need to have some skills to know how to do that. Hey, I got to tell you a miracle story. You up to it?
How could we have a show without a miracle story?
So this guy, we call him Baltimore Bob. I've known him for 13 or 14 years, and he is a diagnosed lunatic. By that, I mean he has bipolar, schizophrenia, multiple personalities. And from the date that I met him, he will walk down the street and start cussing at the government, the local government, and how the government killed his mom. And he's just got like all these stories woven in. He repeats them over and over, but it's like filled with expletives. And the day I met him, I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Bob, what's yours?" I said, "A ray of sunshine." I said, "Jesus loves you." And he laughed. And I said, "Somebody told me about you. Are you like a genius at math?" And he started quoting all these equations, and they were like, right. At any rate, so now advance forward like 13 years. And the guy is really heavy on my heart. He has no bladder control, so he pees himself. He stinks real bad. But I've been buying him clothes a lot. And I go to my men's group and I said, "Guys, this guy has been on my heart for months now. Can I get you guys to commit to pray for him every single day for one prayer, for clarity of mind?" Peter, that was 6 months ago. Every Sunday he calls me up, Ray, can you pick me up for church? He's in a house now, and he still wets his pants and stuff. I buy him adult diapers and jeans and stuff, but he comes to church every Sunday. He doesn't have any outbursts, and he's just a delightful person. This was because a group of people decided to intervene and pray for him and to give it to God. Now, could God have said, nah, that God can do whatever he wants. But in this particular case, he saw the love that everybody had for this guy and the commitment. So yeah, it was amazing. I still get thrilled every time I think about him.
And he's still going strong and a lot more leveled out.
Yeah, yep. And no outbursts at all. Now he could, if you mention the government, he'll them MFers, but he'll actually use the word. He'll go, hold up, Bob. Jesus loved you. So do I. Deal with it. And he'll just smile and say, I love you too. And then he's good to go.
But you're going to get these people that are watching the show right now, and they're going to say, well, why did my so-and-so die of this or that? You know, if there was a loving, you know, you're always going to get that. If this is such a loving God, it's like, why did he, you know, you prayed for him and the miracle happened, and why did I lose this or that? And you know, what do you say?
Well, so that's one of the toughest questions that you can ask in Christianity. Yeah. I'll give you a real example. My back when I was married, because like you, I'm divorced. Back when I was married, I had a step grandson who was born crippled. He had multiple sclerosis. Said that he would never walk. Bunch of people prayed. This group called the Bume Temple took him up to a special hospital. They did a surgery. Kid's like 38 or 40 now. He walks. He uses canes, but when he was little, he would fall down. And I went to his mom and I said, "What do you do when Zach falls down and everybody comes over wanting to help him and you just tell him to leave him alone?" And she said, that's how he learns. And then years later, I asked him, what do you do when you fall down and people come over and they have all this pity on you? He said, I pity them. God gave me this infirmity. And as a result, I've traveled all around the world playing in Special Olympics hockey, Special Olympics basketball. I know people all over the world. I feel like I'm one of the most loved people ever. And that's because of God. Now, that doesn't directly answer that question, but the real answer to the question is because God uses loss to teach people or to try and bring them to him. If you got real deep, and this is not an answer that people want to hear, but it goes all the way back to the beginning with Adam and Eve. When they committed a sin, we were told that from that point on, we would die. Now, the first 13 guys lived to be about 900 years old. Then they were given a time frame of about 120, and now through chemicals and crap that we eat, we might be 60, 70, 80, or depends on if we get shots or not, we might go early. Yeah. The reality is it's our sin nature. Now you say, well, why? This was a baby that died. There is no answer. That's a God answer or God question. I would say that in my experience with the people that I deal with, when I've had that question asked, where they've I'm thinking about a 12-year-old in particular that died. And the parents said, why would God do this to me? And I said, well, he brought your son to him so that he could be at peace. This kid was a believer. But I've said at funerals, this person made a choice. Everybody is going to live eternally. And you don't have to believe it or not, but there's heaven and there's hell. They're real. Everybody will live eternally, and it's based off of one decision where you're going to go. And I make a joke like, you know, the old airline joke, smoking or non-smoking, but try to lighten it up. But for people that are hurting at the loss of a loved one, I would encourage them to seek God, to find something, not a churchy person, you know, like we're not churchy. The church without walls has no walls. We have church in a field, and unless we go to a restaurant. But find someone that passionately loves God and say, can we talk about this? Can we learn? It's a lot different than therapy. but there's an element of faith that you have to have in that. So the person that's asking that question, the first one is, do you believe, or can you extend enough faith to be taught why these things happen? There's also a great video. I don't remember who did it, but it's if you YouTube it, it's why bad things happen to good people. It's brilliant. It's brilliant, and it's very informative. And it's just like with anybody, Peter. You have to have a teachable spirit. Like with the political divide, when you said that we can't really change a lot of people, the only people that we can even influence are people that are willing to be teachable. It's like I'm 70 and I don't know anything. The older I get, the less I think I know. Not because of forgetfulness. It's like I study about Christ a lot every day, and the more I know, the less I know. It's just, I think that Christ reveals himself to us, and it's like you revealed a lot about yourself the first time we met, and you told me about riding in the car with your daughter and her saying, you need to do this now. That spoke volumes about your love for your daughter. That number one, you're able to have that conversation, and number two, that you acted on it. So we learn from people what might seem like a little thing, but if we're listening, they could be really big things. And with the addicted or just broken people, and we also deal with a lot of poor people too. Last week we were at a local library, and every Saturday we go out and buy 4 or 5 pizzas for this one particular group. And, people just like gravitate to free stuff. And these 3 ladies, and I'm being generous calling them ladies, 2 of them were on their smartphones driving a Suburban, driving by us and said, can we get some free pizza? I said, no, this is for the homeless. Well, we're homeless. And I said, yeah, I don't think so. I said, no, our power is off at the house. And I said, yeah, no, this is for people that live in tents. They said, we live in our car. And it's like lie after lie. And I just said, no, this is for the homeless. So then I got 5 minutes of expletives, F you, F you, F you, as they drove off mad. That's the world. Now, when I say the family of Christ or the church, you don't get those kind of responses. You're going to get the kind of, rather than asking, hey, can I get a piece of free pizza? They're going to say, hey, how can I be a blessing to this ministry? Or is there something I can do? Can I get out and pray with you? This is an awesome thing. Not everybody has a capacity to dig in, nor do they have the, that's just not their calling. Like some people want to be in the background making a pot of soup. Some people will drop off a bag of socks or something like that. Everybody plays a part. That's the idea, is when the Bible talks about we're all fit together. I play guitar. If I broke 2 of my fingers and I knew another guitarist, he could stand behind me and he could do the frets as possible. Well, in our walk, the idea is that we have unity. And this is something that our country is lacking. We have disunity and we have hatred. And if we could persuade more people to come together in love, to be a blessing to one another, that's really, for me, that's what it's all about. Is, you said at the beginning, too blessed to be depressed. Yeah, okay, too humble to grumble.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. I knew there'd be something coming up. I said it last week. Years ago, growing up, we'd never be talking about this kind of stuff. Not you and I, but I mean about the world and the division that there was, even though things may still have been not right, there's always going to be that push-pull, but things were never this divided. I mean, they're really trying to destroy from within. And we never had this competition of who's right and who's wrong and what you believe. I mean, we had opinions about stuff, but it wasn't like this.
If you took the 30,000-foot view of the world, you could see that there's an orchestrated plan to bring this country down, and just like what's going on in the UK and in Europe in general, and really a great divide between the haves and the have-nots. And it still comes down to money.
Yeah.
It really does. And it's like, okay, so you got a completely destroyed society, but a few really, really rich people. I don't have anything against really, really rich people. Most of them really work hard to get there. But the ones that are trying to control, like how many people, I'm not going to say any names, but how many people should be alive.
Well, I'll say the names. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, how many? Well, we don't want you to get demonetized. Oh, by the way, hey, from a Christ perspective, like and share, everybody.
Oh, there you go. But no,
yeah, go ahead.
It's just it's rotten. What's going on? It really is, and that's I've done several shows on Bill Gates alone because of all his stuff. He's got his hands in everything. And again, we won't make a big stink out of it, but I'm saying I felt the need, and I get some comments that go, talking about it isn't going to do anything. And it's like, oh, I wish to say I think you're wrong. Talking and bringing awareness about it, I'm still getting people that the one thing that brought the division together right now is the fact that everybody thinks that Bill Gates sucks.
I don't know if I can say that.
Well, you don't have to, but I am. And the thing is,
I'll just say ditto. Yeah, no, I think that him and Soros and other global manipulators, and that's what they are. They're global manipulators, and that kind of power, they say absolute power corrupts, and it does. The good news is that I can see a silver lining in it, and I can see that the love of Christ abounds. Like when more and more people get hold of who God is and how the stuff that's going on, it doesn't mean just because you believe in God that life is rosy. But you know what? You do learn to praise him in the storm. You recognize that, okay, I'm a nobody. And this is pretty much like you trying to tell everybody about somebody. But for me, it's to save my soul. For you, your platform, and there's tons and tons of YouTubers out there that bring awareness to these things that we never had before. You would never get those on lamestream media or anything like that.
Well, I've said it a bunch of times, even on this show, is I find that even people who are non-religious cop religion during a tragedy or something. Like you're on I believe me, I've used to fly a lot, and I've never hardly been scared, but there's been a couple of times to where it was really rough, and I just, beyond my normal experiences. And we always made this joke about people going, oh man, I was doing that ride. I'm going, just go, God, just get us on the ground safe. And, all of a sudden, when push comes to shove, you whether you think so or not, you're subconsciously turning to God. You know what I mean? And so it's there. It's how much you use it, So I figure it doesn't hurt. Don't hurt. Yeah,
well, they say God answers all in email. When do you get on your knees? When you're really hurting. I mean,
yeah.
After 9/11, they did a poll. I think I told you this before, and 95% of the adults that they polled professed to be Christians. Of that 95%, 95% more had never opened the Bible, but they called themselves Christians. So just because you go to church on Christmas and Easter, or even in other faiths, it's not your church attendance; it's your heart attendance to God. It's like, are you being obedient to your faith? Are you listening to God? And are you doing like what we do? Some people would say it's works. It's not. If I go out and I'm not a Christian and I go out and I take care of the homeless, I'm a do-gooder. Maybe it makes me feel good. If I give a homeless guy $5 and I'm not a believer, it makes me feel good. Hey, I did something nice. I'm a good guy. And then when you're talking to somebody, do you think you're going to heaven? Yeah. Why? Because I'm a good guy. I give money to the homeless and stuff like that. Versus in your Christianity, it's not. It's like, no, I'm going to speak to the need. I'm going to stop and hug this person. I'm not going to spit at them and call them a bunch of names and judge them like society does. Like usually the no good lazy bum type thing and no good addicts. No, I'm going to love them the same way that I love God, and that's with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength. I'm going to be passionate and intentional in the way that I love them. And when they reject me, I'm going to remember they're not rejecting me. They're rejecting Christ in me. I'll shake the dust off my feet and move on. But then a year later, if I run into them, I might go full throttle again. It's like we just don't give up because God didn't give up on me.
I think people's, everybody, again, goes about things different ways. And if their intentions are good, look, I have a hard time reading when it comes. My attention span. I've never been the kind of guy who could dig into book. And I get guests that have books, and I have to look at read their books, and it's very difficult for me. And I can honestly say, like, I don't sit and go, I should read the Bible. But in my heart, I just listen to things. I listen to things, or I'll watch things. Because I'm more audible than I am. I'm not a good reader. I can't stay reading a book and transfer it into my brain. I just have a short attention span, no matter what it is. So
I have sometimes told people like that don't like to read, like download the YouVersion app on your phone and get like a New King James Version. Because, people that don't read the Bible, they hear "wouldest thou," and it's like foreign to them. It's like, no, I don't want to hear that. But like, get a New King James Version on there and just do it audibly, and like just have them read the book of John a couple times in a row. And it's like, oh, wow, that's cool. And it starts to connect a little bit,
It's a lot. Again, everybody's just different. And so, yeah, I do, I'm better with audio books or things like that. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking to myself, because I remember because I'm Greek Orthodox and whatever. I remember there was a new young priest once when I was visiting my parents and we went to church, and he says, do you go to church in California? I go, when I can. I said, but I'm touring a lot, I'm traveling a lot, and I just don't have the opportunity very much. And I said, but church is in my house, in my heart. I mean, or I don't know what I said exactly, but I remember him looking at me and saying, but you need to come to God's house. And I'm going, I don't know, I mean, I get it, but in the end, am I going to be judged because I didn't go to just like you don't have a church without walls? I mean, is there going to really be a difference? Am I going to be judged because of that?
Right. So in the Bible, it says, forsake ye not the assembling one another. It doesn't mean it's a heaven and hell issue. The idea is when you're now, again, it's a body of believers, other people that are like-minded people. Like for me, it's people that believe in God, being around them to fellowship and to build each other up. This is the one thing that is lacking in our society is everybody's so quick to criticize. And me too. Like I see these protesters and stuff. I know people that died so that they have the freedom to protest. I remember Vietnam protests in Boulder, Colorado, where they shut down the highways and throwing fire bombs at the cops and stuff. I read the books about DC and when I was stationed in DC in the 70s and it was destroyed in the 60s, all these beautiful buildings with architecture. There's still some of them that have the scars from that. It's like, grow up, have a peaceful protest, hold your signs up. Don't be idiots. Don't be calling a bunch of people names and stuff. All you're doing is you're showing that idiocy on steroids is real. And then the other side starts to go to extremes too. It's like, chill, just like try to find a way to listen to each other and not hate each other. It's like when you listen to the hearings in the Senate. I've been listening to those things my whole life. Nothing ever comes of them, but in like Ronald Reagan's day, they always referred to as the good gentleman on the opposite side or the gentlewoman on the left. They're very courteous and stuff like this. Now they're calling each other names and racist and
a different
communist.
time.
I mean, it's insane.
It has really changed quite a bit, and that's the sad part. And I just found one real good explanation that I'll probably show on next week's show and why I changed my mind as to who I believe in or who I don't. I mean, you got to pick to me, it's like the best of both evils, I mean, the lesser of both evils, because they all have their problems. But I'm not going to not like people just because of it. But the same with church, like you're going to tell me, I'm less religious than somebody else. I'm not in competition. You know what I mean? I know what I believe, that I do believe. I wouldn't have you on this show if we weren't talking the same language, so to speak. I mean, because I don't.
Right.
Well, maybe I would. I'd be challenging you or something. But you're here because of what you do for that area of that you live in, and again, I just always felt that you have to be a special person to. It's one thing to go out and do it for a weekend, like, hey, I'm going to go and donate my time for the weekend, but you do it on a daily basis, 24/7. I mean, I know you take days off for this and that, but 25 years hadn't changed. You know what I mean? This is just like being a musician or something. This is your gig, right?
That's my gig. That's right.
Let me ask you, let's go back to the challenges of the new breed right now this year of all these people. Have any of them gotten violent with you?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good, because it's rough out there.
Yeah, I always pray first, and this is something I tried to engender in teams that go out with us in the past and even presently, is never go out on an outreach without praying first. It's like, I believe that we have God's covered. I did tell you in years past there was violence with guns involved and stuff like that, but we got the police involved, got the problem taken care of. When a guy came back, he went to another community next to us. He actually came to our community first, and I said, "What are you doing?" You told me, you gave me your word you weren't going to mess with these folks. He said, "Just passing through." And the next day he was shot 50 sometimes by the police in a daytime robbery in a store in Dundalk, Maryland. Actually, could watch that on YouTube. So, but no, they don't get aggressive with me at all.
Well, that's good, because I don't know. I just, especially last year, it just seems like Maryland, as beautiful of like the history behind all that, that area and things like that, it's just gotten tougher and tougher for normal people to be safe and things like that. And then you're going deep into the bowels of the homeless that are just out of their minds at times. So I'm just wondering if things have gotten a little worse.
So we're in Baltimore County. I don't go to Baltimore City anymore.
Right.
And I have friends that have invited me to restaurants at these two little communities within Baltimore. I don't want to go down there because, they've had a few gang shootings and stuff on weekends. It's like, I'm not going to put my life at risk.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to. Why bother? Yeah. But still, I mean, again, the homeless are everywhere, and I just didn't know if they migrate around, and again, with the drugs and God knows, I know you've seen all the news clips of San Francisco and Philadelphia where they're just the trank or whatever they're doing, and they're just zombies, and they're passed out, hunched over.
Yeah, I know some folks that went from our previous outreach that we were doing earlier in the year that went there, and they came back and, oh man, it was great and all this. It's like, you know what? I did that in the tunnels of Vegas, and those folks are zombies, and I know people that are heavily involved in they're church people. When I mean church, I mean churchy, not really have that deep heartfelt relationship with God. And they will sit there and talk for 10 or 20 minutes to a person that's drunk or stoned out of their mind. And when that person starts crying, because drunk people cry a lot, and addicted people too, they'll just, and they buy into it. It's like, no. I'm a little different breed. I don't buy into the BS. I can read people too. I'm on a mission, and I'm not going to cast my pearls before swine. I'll come back and catch you when you're not high.
Good luck. I mean, yeah. And that's hard too. It's just by luck, because they want to be as high as they can all the time, right?
Yeah, well, you get to notice their habits. You know when to roll in on them.
Oh, well, that's again because you're consistent.
Right.
You know your area, and you've known your people, and I mean, out of all the people, like the relationships you've built, who's still around like the longest? I mean, how many are coming and? I mean, are they coming in waves, or they just trickle one? What's going on? What's the stability rate, I guess?
So the turnover is almost 100% right now. They'll be here for a few months, and then they'll roll out. Some will go to jail, some will die, and some will just go into the city and disappear. Unfortunately, a large portion of the ones that go to the city and disappear end up like we had this 18-year-old girl. I met her when she was 3 days into her addiction. She went to church with me. She loved it, but she had a boyfriend that refused to let her go to church again. And 2 years later, she was murdered in the city and burned alive.
Nice.
And then, of course, 2 months after that, he was murdered in the city, stabbed to death. So because they go to the city, well, there's drug dealers come out into the county too, but most of the guys go into the city because they can get a better deal, I guess.
Besides panhandling, what is there other means of income of getting money for drugs?
Some of them will get disability for being an addict, which is nuts. Of course, a lot of them just lost their SNAP because of the government shutdown. But I think they're working on getting rid of them anyhow because, they have to do something, community service or something like that. Whatever, you've heard the federal mandates are the same here. Yeah. So people, we're getting more poor people that are hungry, but they're more poor and hungry because of perceived what's going to happen with SNAP, because they're already hitting all the food banks and stuff. And of course, you could say they were furloughed workers and stuff like that because, Maryland has a lot of the DC workers living in it. So it's just, I don't see anything getting better. But in the Bible, it says that these are perilous times. And it tells you that men will be lovers of selves, boasters, proud, truce breakers. It goes on to say a whole list of everything that's going on in society now. So when people read that, they say, oh, we're at the end times. Now there's still some things that have to happen, but these things are going to be amplified. It is going to get worse and worse. And I was watching a video today about things that we did in the 70s that are illegal now. Some of them were games and stuff, and it shows the people how they dressed then. And I'm like, I'm 60s and early 70s, but in the 60s, I was in rural Colorado, and you went out on your little bike and you got back at dark.
Yeah.
And the rules were a lot different. It was, you've probably seen the memes like kids riding in the back of trucks and
sure.
Now like you'd be turned over to Child Protective Services for something like that.
Yeah. You said that the group that you had taken now is smaller. Is it by choice, or it's just thinned out where you're at, or how do you pick and choose?
So we were a lady 2 or 3 years ago had asked us to help her build a ministry. So we got her going, and we got it going up in this town called Dundalk, and she would get food donated from the Amish. And so on any given week, there'd be 30 or 40 people, mostly poor, a few addicts, and serve food. And I was scolding a homeless person for continuing to lie. This is somebody I had known for 12 years. They were coming to the church regular, and they were lying to me, and I scolded them. And she didn't like that. And there was another fella on the team that he and I told him I was going to have to get up in his face because he kept. This guy's like 6'8", and I said you can't just love people to death. Sometimes you have to tell them the truth. Well, he took exception to that. So the lady that we helped start this ministry, she said, it might be best if you moved on. No problem. And I was hurt for about a day. The lady that goes with me on outreach was hurt for quite a while, but God opened up the doors. We just went back to going to the tents, and the old people we saw. It's a smaller group, but as a result, a whole lot more coming to church now. So that became more of a food giveaway. This is more of a let's really dive into who God is type of outreach.
Okay, so you joined forces. This was prior, during one of these years that you've been on my show, because I remember you talking about that, I think last year.
Yep.
But now you guys basically broke up. So she's doing her thing, you're doing your thing.
Yep.
But
we helped her build a team. We got 3 or 4 people that are helping her. And then on ours, right now there's 3 of us. There's one lady that goes on all the outreaches and a guy from the church. And that works. It works better because it's much more intimate. this is what we really want to do, is have relationships with the people we serve. Let them know that we love them, that we care, and more importantly, that God loves them. And if they trust him, that he will help them get into a better place in their life.
I got you.
Not
So
because of their kids, not because of their past, but because of who they are right now, that they are loved by the Most High God, the creator of the universe, and they are special.
So you're both doing good. You're just doing it a little bit differently, and
Yeah,
and she's a little heavier on one end, and you're more, in a different direction. But it's all roads lead to one, basically. To the best of both your abilities. Everybody's got different specialties. You know what I mean? You're going for the soul, and she was going for the stomach. Just making sure people are fed and the soul. I'm just making a joke, but.
Well, those things are really just tools. It's like in sales, they teach you to build trust and make a friend. Well, it's the same thing in evangelizing or trying to win souls. You have to build trust and make a friend. What better way to build trust than to give them something for free? How do you think when free phones and free internet, how do you think elections are won?
Yeah. Well, all the above. I just so with, because for a while there, back in the early days, I know that you it takes money to do what you do. I know you give up some of your own money too, but you have to live, and if you're not around to do it financially, it's like how can you can't help anybody if you're not strong enough on your own. Everything's going okay within your team and things like that.
Yeah. So like I attend a big church, and they just asked me. Today, they said that they'd like to donate for our Thanksgiving meal. And I said, we're not a 503c. We just started a church. I said, we didn't register or anything because we don't want all the red tape. And so that ruled that out. And that's fine. It's like I told him, I said, God always takes care of us. It's I put out mostly my own money and happy to do it. We don't take a lot of used clothes. I like to give them brand new clothes because they're my kids. And now, all blankets and stuff, we obviously would take blankets, but we buy the food and have a guy at church when we go to IHOP. If we got 30 people, that's a $550 tab.
Yeah.
We have a guy that picks it up almost all the time. So
wow.
It's everybody working together.
Wow. I know, but you have to have it to be able to do it.
Yeah. And I just encourage your listeners to start something going in their own community. I had a guy in Europe that was telling me, my church just isn't getting me involved. And I said, and he said, we don't have a lot of money. I said, get a loaf of bread, make some PBJ sandwiches, and go out and talk to some people. Make it happen. You just create it. You don't need a formal church. You pray before you go out and love somebody. That's how it starts.
Yeah.
And that makes a change in you too. When you do something like that, just like what you do, you know that you're making a difference. You might not always see it the way that you want because you got all the platforms in there, politics and stuff, but you know that you're making a difference.
Sometimes I wonder, but then again, I get caught off guard a lot of times, and then I'm surprised when I do. I go, I can't believe this is doing, because there's times, don't you think? There's times when you try to do something, and no matter you think it's going to go well, things don't always go as planned. Let's put it that way. But still the intent is still there. And then out of the blue, I wait. Things just change, and I'm going, wow. Look at what it did for this. There's times when I talk on this show, even today, that I get lumps in my throat. When it comes to morals and I don't know, deep down things that are really close to home, I'm an emotional guy. That's my weak spot, but I always tell people, don't judge my kindness from weakness. You know what I mean? It's there's two me's in one, but I also don't want to get so hard on the edges that, like you said, you forget about the having the emotional, don't want to cut off. You know what I mean?
You're cracking up real bad there.
yeah, and I don't know why that's happening. And I thought that was you doing it.
No, I'm not touching anything.
I'm not touching anything either.
Unless my phone's going to die.
No, I don't know. I thought like. See, look, it can't be. You move around. Okay, move around.
Nothing.
Do jumping.
Nothing.
All right. Well, I don't know. There's a ghost in the machine. All right. Well, either way, look, we're. All right. This is freaking me out now. Is there anything? Is there anything that you need to tell me?
No, but if you give everybody my Facebook is just Pastor Ray Poellot, and Poellot, or email me at raypollot1@gmail.com, and I could tell them, give them some pointers on how to get things rolling in their community, and or talk to them about Jesus.
I got it. There'll be short clips and things like that that'll be put out. And again, so basically, and you lurk around the internet. You're on Instagram as well.
Yes.
Okay, so you're on Instagram.
Ray,
what are you on?
Ray of Sunshine, 1955.
Ray on Instagram.
Yep.
Okay, and then Facebook. Say it one more time.
Pastor Ray Poellot.
Okay, and you do any YouTubes or anything like that?
Nah, too busy.
I can't know where that scratching sounds come from. That's really weird. That's a first. Okay, one last thing. See, we're not even moving. Okay, if there's anything, if you want to leave anything, and I do this to you every year, I think. See, it almost sounds like somebody's with us. Like audibly.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, you have been having some psychics on your show.
And I will again too. Do you believe in psychics?
No.
What? See, here's the problem. Wait a minute. Let me, because I got to talk to you real quick about that. We're going to go way over time now. Here's the problem I have. Why I do believe that some, not all, are real. How do you deny when you've never met anybody and they tell you something that nobody could know? How do you deny it?
I have no answer to that. I've never had that happen. I've had people that you might have a gift of foreknowledge. Like I believe that some people operate on a little higher level. Like the lady that goes on outreach with me, she has this uncanny ability to know when something's going to happen, or if somebody's coming, or if somebody's going to be there. And it's like 99% of the time she's right on. I don't know the answer to that. I could tell you, we were talking about this the other day, like the a Ouija board. Remember those?
Yeah.
I think if you dabble in the occult, you can invite something in. I don't dabble in that. I deny all the like in Christianity, there's demons, there's spiritual warfare going on all the time. But no, I don't. I mean, it doesn't mean that somebody doesn't have some special gift. I wouldn't think of it as a psychic though.
But again, some people will say, well, that's the devil's work or this and that. My mother was kind of weird like that. Even though she would tell me stories, she says there was a woman that told the father. There was a woman that this crackling sounds messing me up because it really,
because this is horrible.
Yeah, it sounds like somebody's messing with, like, got their fingers on a microphone or something, or moving around. But the psychic said, I remember there was a woman that told your father he was going to die. He was going to die a wealthy man. You know what I mean? And that never happened. But then again, define wealthy or rich. It can be in many ways. But yet she wouldn't believe in psychics. She'd say we don't believe in that kind of stuff. But I don't know. All right, that's to be for. I'll hold that for another story. All right, you want to leave anybody with any last words from Pastor Ray Poellot, Baltimore?
Hey, no, just I hope everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving, and if you want to be blessed, be a blessing to someone else first.
Yeah, lead by example. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. I believe you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right there from Baltimore. It really sounds. I know what sounds sound like. That sounds like somebody's messing with. It doesn't sound like a normal audio crackle. It sounds like there's, like, if somebody was in, with us, and was just messing with something. All right, I'll leave it alone. But it's really because yeah. All right, listen. Thank you. I love you for coming on and taking the time with us. And I'll just talk to you again down the road. All right.
All right. God bless.
Wave with everybody. All right. Thank you. We'll be in touch. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Baltimore's own overseer of the homeless, Pastor Ray Poellot, right there. There you go. See you later. Oops, and that was me. There we are. I don't know what's going on with that sound. It's always something. Always something. Let me let's go all full blown here. There we go. All right. Good conversation, right? Good conversation. I always enjoy talking to Pastor Ray. He always, it's reality. We end up talking about reality, which I think most of the stuff we do. Now, then again, we do some goofy stuff at times, which I enjoy doing, but the reality of life, and we're just taking a perspective of what goes on in that part of the nation and what he's doing to try to make things a little bit better for someone's life. Hope you enjoyed that. If you want to reach Pastor Ray, again, you can find him on Facebook and on Instagram, but he's always on there posting something about his Church Without Walls or, what they're doing and things like that. And that's how we became friends. I want to remind everybody, please, please, please share, subscribe, follow from wherever you're watching. I need all the help. It really does help. And even on the short clips too, because the short clips get a lot of attention, but people watch them and they move on. If you like what you're hearing, kind of, sort of, you're willing to watch it and you've watched more than one, that means that you're probably, not minding what you're watching. Even if you disagree, it's good to, I'm not asking anybody to constantly, I don't need yes people. I just bring people together. And what do you got there, Steve? Waved. What does that mean? Wave? You waving to me or you're waving your rights? Yes, very good. All right, gotcha. Yes, very good. Well, look, I hit pretty hard on the current events things because I feel it's important, but there was a time when I do nothing but guests and we'd be hitting different topics, and next year we'll be doing a lot of that, more of that. This year's been kind of weird. I just felt the need, and I'll probably always feel the need to keep people current on information of our daily lives because of the division. Again, just as we said with the Pastor Ray, we never used to be this bad. So again, things change. I kind of roll with the changes. And when I could bring guests on, I'm going to bring, the holidays. We're going to talk about the holidays as they're rolling in, especially as we roll into December. But I have a few other stories that are going to be in between, a few guests in between. But I'm about reality. Then this is real. And no more can be more real than Pastor Ray going out there and dealing with the homeless. He's out there in the snow, trudging in the wintertime, checking on people. I can't say I do that kind of stuff. I check on my friends if I haven't heard from somebody, but a little bit different. I think I got it pretty cushy. But again, everybody has a different delivery system. So through what I do, I bring on Pastor Ray to talk about what he does, because there's plenty of people like Pastor Ray, thank God, out there that do what he does. I just happen to know Pastor Ray. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Whenever you're listening, I'm glad you're listening. But again, please share, follow, subscribe. Don't forget the audio podcast too. All these platforms that I'm grateful enough to be on, even the ones that give me a hard time like YouTube and all that, believe it or not, folks, they're all adding up to a pretty big community of people who are listening and or watching. And I'm very grateful for that. I don't take that for granted. I always want it to be bigger and better so I can bring you more, have a little more budget to do more. But for what we have and what we're doing, I am truly grateful. And I'm grateful to you for taking the time to listen and watch. I don't take that for granted. I don't. And that's it. So again, as we close out tonight's show, as always, I want to remind you all to please be kind. Life really is tough out there. It really is. and things are changing rapidly daily. So just be kind, and if anybody's barking at you or people that you're kind of family, whatever, take a breath before you snap back. Take it easy. Life is short, and just you don't have to take a bunch of shit from people, but you don't have to be an ass either. Just try to remember you don't know, or even if you might know what they're going through, or they're just plain, like I said, a-holes. Don't let it affect you. I'm tired. It really bothers me that I have a lot of close people that I've known for years that are getting eaten up with anger. I like to emphasize things, and I'm loud, and I'm Greek, and I talk loud, but I do a lot of things over the top because that's the way I am with the way I deliver things. I don't relax. I'm not like this super relaxed person, but I am relaxed. I try to tell people, you don't know what over the top really is. I don't let it bother me. Some things I do. I take things and I do carry things on my back. It doesn't roll off because I take things personally for people I love. But that only gives me more incentive to tell you, everybody just chill out. Remember, most this year, I overemphasized a lot on my show for people to take a breath before you speak and shut the fuck up if you don't really know what you're talking about. Quit just mimicking what you hear on the TV just so you can say, I told you so. See, I was right. Because you may not be. And a lot of times you're not. But it makes you feel good. All right? I love you guys. I do. My name is Peter G. Thank you for watching Life with Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday like clockwork, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast. God willing. Can't say that enough. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. And I do mean it. I hope to see you guys next week and each and every week. Don't forget, all the shows are on demand. You can, if you miss the shows, I know a lot of people say, man, I missed your show. And it's like, well, you can watch it, because, yeah, but I like watching on demand. Don't be foolish. Watch the show whenever you can. When you're driving the car, listen to it on audio, whatever. You don't cheat yourself out of all this entertainment and or information, things that can possibly either change your life or you can pass it on to somebody who needs to hear this stuff. All right? That's it. Over. Show's over, folks. A bit. I love you guys. My name is Peter G. Peace out.
Peter G Show. Peter G Show. Divorced dad, single dad. Divorced dad, single dad. Peter G Show.